Heto na naman, ang polvoron video po, lumabas na naman na kahapon during the Senate hearing ni Senator Amy Marcos. During the TRICOM. During the TRICOM probe or investigation, and it was chaired by Congressman Pimentel, no? At saka nandyan si Congressman Abante, si Congressman Paudano, and iba-iba pang mga congressmen that they want to regulate ang fake news po, no? Ang social media dahil po sa fake news problema dito o dyan po sa Pilipinas. Lumabas na naman ang polvoron. Akala ko tapos na yun polvoron video ni Bongbong Marcos. And for me, parang I disagree putting out again itong polvoron issue ni Bongbong Marcos dahil it will go back again ang mga negative thinking ng mga tao po, no? And it will remind again na hanggang ngayon si President Bongbong Marcos ayaw talaga mag drug test, and it will raise again a lot of questions, no? At saka mga doubts ng mga tao po. I don't know why they decided to show it again. The way how I look at it, na parang they want to, para sa kanila, parang it is a confirmation na fake ang video clip. Fake ang video clip. But remember, si Madam Claire, dyan sa US po, he went and have it examined. And ang result ng examination ng video na hindi tampered, hindi edited. Hindi edited. So, okay. Let's talk about it later po. In the meantime po, dahil holiday ngayon sa Pilipinas, April 9 tayo ngayon, and it's Wednesday. Bakit holiday po? Because ang Pilipinas is celebrating itong Day of Valor. Day of Valor or Araw ng Kagitingan. Araw ng Kagitingan. So, let's talk about this holiday dyan sa Pilipinas. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. called on Filipinos to honor World War II veterans through acts of genuine service and self-offering to the nation. In a statement commenting Araw ng Kagitingan or Day of Valor on Wednesday, April 9. This year's Araw ng Kagitingan marks 83 years since more than 76,000 Filipinos and American troops surrendered to Japanese forces in Bataan, leading to the Bataan Death March. In his message, Marcos praised the defenders of Bataan as enduring symbols of Filipino courage that should guide the present-day national development. On this day, we celebrate the valiant heroes of the defense of Bataan and all Filipinos who showed acts of unwavering courage and patriotism during the Second World War, the President said, according to Presidential Communication Office release. Their remarkable story continues to inspire us all as we carry on the work of protecting our nation and building a country worth of their sacrifice, Marcos said. Marcos emphasized that the valor extend beyond the battlefield heroics to include small acts of compassion, generosity, and kindness that creates meaningful ripples of positive change in our community. Through acts of genuine service and self-offering to the nation, we can prove that we are not only made of the same noble stock as a noteworthy ancestors, but also the rightful heirs of their heroic legacy, Marcos said. The president also connected this historical act of sacrifice to his administration's key tagline, urging Filipinos to become faithful successors of their struggle to build a strong, secure, and prosperous bagong Pilipinas. Yan po ang mensahe ni Bongbong Marcos, our president, President Bongbong Marcos. And mayroon din po ang mensahe ni Inday VP Sara, and later on I will check pa po kung nasaan na yon. And definitely I'm going to also once I will find it, I will read it to you also po. Sara message. Okay, tingnan natin po. Okay, later na po, no? Wala pa. But anyway, ang topic natin ngayon po regarding itong TRICOM investigation held yesterday po, no? It is between the congressman and the mga bloggers po, no? Yon sabi nila fake news. Medyo very interesting po. I was monitoring the whole session from morning hanggang afternoon po, and it's very interesting po. Bilib na bilib ako dyan kay isang blogger, si Joey Cruz. Babae ito po. The way she answered, no? Si Congressman Abante is trying to pin her down, no? But magaling talaga ang mga answers na may respeto, may lamahan, lahat mga reply ni blogger Joey Cruz, no? Ni Joey Cruz, especially yung issue na Gracie Congressman Abante na tumawag sa kanya, tumawag sa kanya gago yata, something like that, no? But anyway, later I will show to you po ang video clip. I managed to tape, to record ang video clips. Yun mga exchange of words ni Madam Joey Cruz and Congressman Abante po. And during the probe or during the investigation, that was the fourth session na po, no? Fourth hearing na. At the end of the session, mayroon na naman po na contempt, na contempt. Later on, you will know ang mga detalles nito po. Ito na po, listen to this report, no? Report aired dyan sa Pilipinas, and I managed to record it and I'm going to share with you now. Alright, ano ba ito? Listen to this report, 254. Tingnan natin. 254. Listen to this.
Nagkainitan sa pagdinig ng House Tri Committee tungkol sa paglaganap ng fake news sina Congressman Benny Abante at
Hold on,
si Elizabeth
Balik natin ulit. Balik.
Nagkainitan sa pagdinig ng House Tri Committee tungkol sa paglaganap ng fake news sina Congressman Benny Abante at vlogger na si Elizabeth Joey Cruz. Napikon si Abante sa pahayag noon ng vlogger tungkol sa kanya.
Ang sabi mo, ganito, kung Abante, paswelduhan ka ng taxpayer, gago. Tinawag mo akong gago. Oh, bakit? Ba't mo ginawa sa akin yun?
Sagot ni Cruz,
We do not know each other personally. Therefore, the statement was said based in a not personal way, but it is an observation.
giit ni Abante.
What is your right to tell me I'm gago?
That is part of my freedom of speech.
Pero mas lalong nainis ang kongresista nang balikan ang sinabi raw noon ni Cruz na may isasampal daw siya sa pagmumukha ni Abante.
If I tell you right now, sasampaling kita. Freedom of speech yan.
That's part of your freedom, Mr. Chair.
Pag sinampal kita, hindi na freedom of speech yan.
Of course, sir, it's overt
Ay, hindi
action
na.
already. Yes,
Hindi
sir.
na, no?
Yes, sir.
Oo, ang galing. Mahusay ito. Oo, magaling ka.
Natigil lang ang sagutan ng pumagitna ang chairman ng komite. Naungkat din sa pagdinig ang sworn affidavit ng vlogger na si Pebbles Conana. Sinabi niyang si Atty. Harry Roque ang umano'y mastermind sa likod ng kumalat na edited video ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na gumagamit ng cocaine na binansagang pulveron video. Ang dahilan daw para sirain ang kredibilidad ng Pangulo.
Sa palagay ko po, Mr. Chair, party po yun ang plano ng gusto nilang pabagsakin ng presidente.
Wala pang pahayag dito si Roque. Samantala, pinasight in contempt ang mga vlogger na sina Sas Rogando Sasso, Lorraine Badoy at Jeffy Celis dahil sa hindi pagdalo sa hearing ng walang legal excuse. Kinontempt din ng vlogger na si Mark Lopez dahil sa kanyang post na sinisiraan ang komite matapos dumalo noong nakaraang pagdinig. Sa gitna ng kumakalat na fake news online, sinabi ng mga kinatawan ng Meta na dumalo sa pagdinig na mayroon silang ginagawang hakbang para labanan ang misinformation. Tinatanggal na raw nila ang mga account at content na lumalabag sa kanilang community standards, lalo na yung mga mapanirang impormasyon. Binabawasan din ang pagkalat ng low-quality content. Nakipag-partner din sila sa third-party fact-checkers gaya ng Rappler, Verifiles at Agence France Press sa pagtukoy ng mga content na may misinformation. Nakikipagtulungan din daw sila sa mga law enforcement agency.
We can ourselves send content for the fact checkers to check. Or the fact checkers can do it themselves.
Tingin naman ng ilang kongresista, pananagutan ng mga social media platform gaya ng Meta ang pagbuksa sa fake news. Baka kailangan na raw imandato ang pag-register ng mga social media platform sa bansa. Nagbabalita.
Yan po, narinig niyo po ang report ng GMA yata ito or GMA yata ito, no? Ang report ng dyan sa mainstream media sa Manila, what happened yesterday. Very interesting, exciting, and nakakainis. Nakakainis po what happened during the TRICOM hearing yesterday. Pero believe ako, as what I told you, believe ako din kay na paano siya, si Madam Joey Cruz answer back ang mga questions ni sarcastic questions ni Congressman Abante po, no? That's how ang tao felt during the exchange of words between Congressman Abante and blogger Joey Cruz. So I have some video. I will show it to you later on. Give me few more seconds po, no? And of course, narinig natin na apat vlogger na contempt po for not appearing in the fourth investigation of probe carried out by TRICOM, ang House of Representatives, and it is being chaired by Congressman Pimentel. Now, during the investigation, nandun din ang Meta officials, and ang problema lang dyan po, nakita ko po, no, si Congresswoman Franz Castro, although may mga points siya po, no, she wanted to ask or asking sa officials ng Meta, but she doesn't know the issue. She doesn't know the issue, and she doesn't know how to bring out ang problema niya po, no? Na take down ang account niya, and technicality wise wala talaga si Franz Castro. Sayang lang po ang opportunity. That's why I for one I was saying, sana lang po prior to the scheduled investigation or probe yesterday po, sana lang si Franz Castro did some homework, no? And as yun, may mga alam din na kung paano po ang problema niya po, and how to bring the matter to the attention of Meta. That's how I look at it po, no? I look at it. Sayang lang. But meron pa man hearing. I don't know if Meta will be invited again. During the fifth hearing, no? During the fifth hearing. Now, during the investigation, during the hearing, yan na. Lumabas na naman ang istorya ng pulveron video, no? Pulveron video. And ang testigo dyan, ang si vlogger Pebbles, no? Si Pebbles. And nakikita ko po parang synonym eh. But based on the comments dyan po sa social media, nakita ko po mga netizens po, no? They were saying scripted daw po, what Congressman Akop and blogger Pebbles we're talking about, no? We're talking about kasi nakikita daw ang mga those who criticize or give some criticism regarding the exchange of or question and answer between Congressman Akop and Pebbles, nakikita nila po, they claim, reported nila, no? Scripted daw po. Scripted. But anyway, you can see it again sa video, no? You go to YouTube, nandyan pa rin ang mga video replays. And you can see, and then you can make your own judgment po. What I'm doing now is just sharing to you po, no? What I have. And at least you will have an idea. Especially sa mga Filipinos dito po sa Malaysia, sa West Malaysia, and ang dalawang states dyan po sa Sabah, East Malaysia. I'm referring to Sabah and Sarawak. Dahil ang dami din tayo po mga Filipinos who are legally staying and residing and working dyan po sa Sabah and Sarawak. And it is for this reason that I am updating ang mga kababayan ko po dito sa Malaysia po, no? Because not everybody has enough time to watch ang mga live happenings dyan po sa Senado, dyan po sa House of Representatives. Not every Filipinos dito po sa Malaysia will have the time, especially during working days po, to monitor ang election na activities dyan sa Pilipinas. At saka ang mga latest updates sa tungkol kay ang case ni Tatay Digong po. Although, maingay na maingay when it comes to the issue of Tatay Digong dyan po sa ICC. Dyan po sa ICC. Alright, so another clippings or a video clip I want to share with you. Ito po, listen to this. Listen to this po. Listen to this si Congressman Abante and Joey Cruz.
You did.
May I respond, Mr.
Ay,
Chair?
kaya, Mr. Chair, hindi ako nagagalit sa'yo. Okay? At wala akong pakialam sa'yo. Kahit na anong sabihin mo, okay lang sa akin. Alright? Pero itong ating pinag-uusapan ngayon, merong kinalaman sa mga legislation na aming gagawin later on. That is why I am asking you right now. Sapagkat napakahalaga nito. Kapag binabanggit mo, if you're saying that using profanities, insults, and malicious accusations online represent fair and respectful discourse and a healthy discourse, therefore you're telling us that the freedom of expression is absolute. You can say anything you want, and that is freedom of expression. Yun ang sinasabi ko, Mr. Chair.
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Pag binanggit mo, if you said that freedom of expression is not absolute, therefore, there are certain things that you cannot say. Yun ang ibig sabihin no.
Alright, klaro po, no? Klaro po. Klaro po what Abante say. Anyway, let's continue po. Mayroon pa dito, isa pang video clip na I want you to listen, watch and listen. Ito po. Let's listen to another clip. Saan na yun? 104. Kanina was 104 ba yun? Alright, sandali ha. 28, ito na ba yun? Sandali.
So, pakiklaro mo nga yung sinabi mong pinagputahan ng mga tao.
Pinagputahan ng mga tao means pinagtrabahuhan ng manggagawang Pilipino ang nagpapatakbo ng bayang ito, ng kongresong ito. So therefore, the the public officials should listen when there is a grievance being raised, petition being submitted by the people, especially when they are expressing dismay or standards not being met. Pinagputahan ng tao means pinagtrabahuhan. Bulacan niya po ako, Mr. Chair. I would just like to inform so that you would also have a proper context on my vernacular.
Mr. Chair, marami kong kilalang Bulakenyo na hindi ganyan ang mga salita.
Kaya marami po, marami rin po
Please,
ako.
wag mong banggitin ang pagiging Bulakenya mo dito.
But
Baka
it is-
sabihin po ng mga Bulakenya, lahat yan, ganyan ang salita nila.
I am
Please,
under
wag,
oath, Mr.
wag naman.
Chair. It is like that.
Mga
In
disente po ang mga Bulakenya.
Bulacan po ako, sir. So I can speak for my people.
Isa ka, Mr. Chair, sa Bulakenya.
So, yun po, ha? Kayo, how do you look at it po? Meron pa isa. Okay, meron pa isa. Kayo nang bahala. Kayo nang bahala. Okay, meron pa isa. Hold on. Isa pa. Meron pa isa dito. 28. Ito. Let's listen to this.
Nabanggit mo. I'm asking you about the jurisprudence. I just told you that there is a law against on libel, on cybercrime. What you said today is libelous. What you said here is libelous. Why?
Mr.
Because
Chair.
there is a malicious intent. When you use profanities, when you use the word gago, there is a malicious accusation, and that is libelous.
Mr. Chair, if that is your assessment,
And
kind of
listen,
you
not
will
only
have your...
libelous, Mr. Chen, dali lang ha, not only libelous, that is also unjust vexation on my part.
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Chair, if you think that you are violated by my exercise of my freedom, you would have your right and
No, Mr. Chair,
so that
don't worry.
the maliciousness of
Mr.
that
Chair,
statement
don't
can be
worry. I'm
sorted
not
out
going
with the
to charge
proper
you in court.
authority.
Don't worry. I'm not going to charge you. If I charge you in court, matatalo ka eh. Pero
Ito
hindi.
talaga.
Oo.
Sigurado
Unjust
ka?
vexation to. Alam niyo ba yun? Are you a lawyer or not?
I am not a lawyer,
So
Mr. Chair.
therefore, you should know this. The thing is this, pero huwag kang magalala. Hindi ako magdidemanda sa'yo. Do you know why? You're not important to me. Alright? Ang dahilan lamang, kaya natin ginagawa ito, para magkaroon kami ng idea kung anong legislation ang nais naming gawin. Pero ikaw, you are not important to me. Alright? Oo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yan. Huwag kang magalala. Hindi ako kailanman magdidemanda sa iyo. Alright? Tumatawa ka pa eh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Natatawa ka sa akin eh.
No, Mr. Chair, I am expressing my gratitude, Mr. Chair.
Ganun ba? Mr. Chair, tumatawa ka and you're expressing your gratitude by your sarcastic laughter?
I am not
She's not laughing.
Mr.
She's not
Chair.
laughing.
It's just a natural smile, Mr.
So gusto
Chair.
kong tanungin po, itong ating vlogger,
She was not laughing. She was just smiling. Na? Natural lang yun po. Medyo, I don't know. Sa inyo po, how do you look at it po? Ang mga reaction ni Congressman Abante. Anong reaction ni Congressman Abante? I will leave it to you. I am just sharing you itong what really happened. Let's listen to this again po. Na hindi dapat mga government officials, elected politicians natin po, they should not be onion skin. No? Kung may nagbanat-banat sa kanila po, the most that you can do is explain. No? Explain. And if you think they violated your rights, then file a libel case or whatever rights you have, no, to protect yourself, no. Nandiyan na naman yan sa Constitution, like filing a case on slander, and libel case din po, pwede din po, no. But kung pwede lang, don't be onion skin. Sabi nga ang mga ang Supreme Court. Ang Supreme Court po. Let's listen to this.
Klaro mo nga yung sinabi mong pinagputahan ng mga tao.
Pinagputahan ng mga tao means pinagtrabahuhan ng manggagawang Pilipino ang nagpapatakbo ng bayang ito,
Correct.
ng kongresong ito. So therefore, the public officials should listen when there is a grievance being raised, petition being submitted by the people, especially when they are expressing dismay or standards not being met. Pinagputahan ng tao means pinagtrabahuhan. Bulacan po ako, Mr. Chair. I would just like to inform so that you would also have a proper context on my vernacular.
Mr. Chair, marami kong kilalang Bulakenyo na hindi ganyan ang mga salita.
Kaya marami po. Marami rin po
Please,
ako.
wag mong banggitin ang pagiging Bulakenya mo dito.
But
Baka
it is-
sabihin po ng mga Bulakenya, lahat yan, ganyan ang salita nila.
I am under
Please,
oath,
wag
Mr.
naman.
Chair. It is like that.
Mga disente po ang mga Bulakenya.
Bulacania po ako, sir. So I can speak for my people.
Isa ka, Mr. Chair, sa Bulakenya.
Alright, yun po. Nag-replay lang tayo. Para at least you will have an idea. Shoutout muna tayo kay Melvin Aviar, who is also watching my program ngayon. And salamat, madam, to Melvin, no? To Melvin and to your family and to your friends dyan po sa Sabah. Dyan po sa Sabah. Thank you for watching. And, nandito tayo po. I am sharing some video clips sa inyo, to Melvin at sa mga followers ko about what happened, what transpired during the investigation dyan sa Maynila, ang TRICOM hearing, the fourth hearing na yan po, carried out yesterday, no? Sabi ni Melvin, buenas noches, Sir Nico. Buenas noches también contigo, no? Buenas noches también contigo. Alright, yun po ang latest developments tungkol sa sa TRICOM hearing, and as what I said earlier, na mayroon din na ang polvoron video lumabas na naman po, and mayroon mga negative and positive comments ang mga tao po tungkol sa itong question and answer between Congressman Acob and blogger si Pebbles po. Medyo mahalata, sabi nila po. Scripted na yan. Alright. Now, talking about another hearing, no? And I'm also excited, and I can assure you that I'm going to monitor and spend much of my time watching itong hearing tomorrow po, no? Ang hearing bukas, April 10. And that is the hearing of Senator Amy Marcos on the foreign affairs, no? That is regarding itong arrest ni Tatay Digong the other day, last March 11 po, no? Ang arrest niya carried out by, of course, assisted by the Marcos administration, and of course following the instruction or request coming from Interpol and yun po sa ICC or International Criminal Court. When he was arrested from Hong Kong, when he reached Manila Airport, the Ninoy International Airport, in the morning of March 11, he was arrested. May warrant of arrest, and he was brought to Villamor Air Base and stayed there for how many hours? A lot of things happened there, and in the evening, late in the evening, he was flown to Netherlands, The Hague, to hand him over to the custody of itong criminal or International Criminal Court. And now he's facing charges, on crimes against humanity. All right. Okay. So ongoing po, and the confirmation of charges hearing po is scheduled on September 3 and later on 23. And later on I will show you a video between or nag-interview po sa spokesman spokesman ng ICC or Criminal Investigation or Criminal ICC, International Criminal Court spokesperson. And I'm referring to no other than sino ba yan si Fadi L. Abdullah. Fadi L. Abdullah ang spokesperson ng ICC. Later on, you will listen to this thing po. So, bago yun, a video clip, it's a little bit long, mga 5 to 6 minutes lang yan. So, I will share it to you. Listen carefully po. Kasi maganda mga questions given to the ICC spokesperson, si Fadi L. Abdullah, regarding ang issue or case ni former Senator or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, known to many Filipinos as Tatay Digong. Tatay Digong. But before that, yun na po, hearing bukas ni Amy Marcos. And yes, expected that there will be a resource person from the government who will be attending the hearing. And many are hoping that even the civil CIDL General Nicolas Torre the third, will also must attend the hearing po. A lot of questions mayroon si Senator Amy Marcos needs to be answered by itong mga resource persons, and a lot of Filipinos, no, very concerned about the issue, and they will be watching. They will be watching ang hearing bukas April 10 po, dyan po sa dyan po sa Kongreso, tomorrow po, morning yan po. And to my followers, I can assure you that you will be properly updated on this thing po, what is happening dyan po sa hearing bukas. Anyway, nandito na po ang footage, ang interview kay ICC spokesperson, si Fadi L. Abdullah. Listen to this carefully. Hold on po, ha? Hold on. Maganda ito po. Listen to this carefully.
Philippines, it is widely talked about the arrest of our former president, Rodrigo Duterte. Does the ICC concern on the issue of the arrest of the former president, or it doesn't matter? The ICC does not concern itself with the manner of the arrest of the former president. Well, I understand that there is a judicial process before the national courts, which is something that we have to respect and not to prejudge. So we should avoid speculations. And in the eventuality that something related to that would be presented to our judges at the ICC, it would be for them to decide. So again, I would not enter into speculations about what might be or not the impact of such a question.
Sir, let me just be clear. Was it a surrender and there was no kidnapping, no illegal arrest, no intervention, nor interference?
Again, I will not enter into the speculations about the lawfulness or not of the arrest and the impact that this might have on the proceedings. It's something for the national judges and then for the ICC judges eventually to decide on if there is a request related to that before that. What does it mean when you say that our former president was surrendered under the framework of the ICC? Yes, it's a legal question. Normally, there is what is called extradition in between states, and in most of the cases, states do not kind of transfer their citizens before another state jurisdiction. But as we are an international court, then the process is not of extradition, it's a process of surrender of individuals that are suspected of certain crimes and against whom there is an arrest warrant issued by the international court. So the Philippine government, in effect, surrendered our former president, and will the ICC determine if some parameters or all the requirements are complied with on the surrender aspect based on your framework, or it doesn't really matter how he was brought to The Hague? What matters is he was surrendered.
Again, I will not be able to enter into speculations. There is a national judicial process that we have to respect, and then if there is a request related to that before the ICC, it will be for the ICC judges to decide on it. So I would not be able to speculate on this.
In other words, it is an issue that the court or the judges need to determine if it's legal at some point in time.
If there is a request before the judges, then it will be decided by them.
Is there a request as we speak to resolve the issue?
Well, I only have access to the public records, and I haven't yet seen something related to that. I don't know if there is a confidential request by the defense, but that's something that is totally for the defense to decide if they want to submit it anyway.
Can you just give us a sense, normally, of the trigger points that would make the court decide that there was indeed a crime against humanity committed? Is there any set of particular crimes that would qualify it as a crime against humanity? And in Duterte's case, what were the judges looking at?
In regard to the crime against humanity, what does that mean? It means a kind of a category of different illegal conducts that may include rape, torture, murder, pillaging, sexual violence, and other types of illegal conducts. But there is additional condition. To qualify these illegal conducts as a crime against humanity, there is a need to verify that there is a widespread or systematic attack against civilian population according to a certain plan, that is either a state plan or an organization that has this type of plan. So this is what we call the contextual elements of the crime against humanity. And that's what the ICC prosecutor will have to demonstrate to the judges, so that there is this framework of widespread or systematic attack against civilian population according to a certain plan. And in the current case regarding Mr. Duterte, and at this moment the charges are related to the murder as a crime against humanity. Now we are moving to another phase, which is the phase of the confirmation of charges, and for that the judges need to verify the accusations against a higher threshold, because they need to check if there are substantial grounds to believe that Mr. Duterte is responsible for such illegal conducts. And of course that will be done by listening to the prosecutor evidence, but also to the defense counter-argumentation. And of course there's also a possibility for the victims to present through a legal representative, so through a lawyer, to present their observations, their personal stories. They are not a second prosecutor. They are not bringing evidence against the defendants. They are just expressing their own views on the questions that may be raised before the judges. Now, for the victims, they have rights before the ICC. And there is a right related to the reparations, but the reparations is only discussed if there is a trial, and if at the end of the trial there is a conviction of a defendant. So at this moment we are not discussing at all the question of reparations. We are discussing only the question of participation in the proceedings. And participation in the proceedings for the victims is a process that is free of charge, that is intended to allow the victim's voice to be heard inside the courtroom, mainly through their lawyers, to express their personal opinions, their stories, their legal observations on the points that may be raised before the judges. And for the victims, as well as for the defendants who cannot afford the legal representation, they don't have maybe the financial resources to have a lawyer representing them before the ICC. There is a legal aid program at the ICC that allows to cover the expenses of the legal representation of the victims, and also in a large number of cases also of the defendants, if they don't have the financial means and resources to pay for their own legal representation.
I asked them.
Alright, that's it. Yan po ang spokesperson ng ICC, si Fadi El Abdullah po. interview ito po sa kanya, no? Ang media natin dyan sa Pilipinas. Okay, let's continue. Mayroon pa isang video clip. Let's listen po. Importante din ito po. Let's listen kay spokesperson Fadi L. Abdullah.
One last question. What should the Filipino people expect during these times, between these times and the confirmation of charges? Well, I think it's maybe our duty first to explain to them why there is this period of time of almost 6 months before the confirmation of charges. And the reason is that we have to fully respect the rights of the defense. And part of this respect of the rights of the defense is to give the defense team the time and the facilities to cross-examine or to verify or to check the evidence of the prosecutor. So there is a process by which the prosecutor would have to disclose to the defense all the evidence on which he intends to rely for the purpose of the confirmation of charges hearing. And then we need to have enough time for the defense to organize, to investigate or to counter-investigate and check all this evidence and prepare a meaningful defense. And that, of course, requires time and resources to organize the legal representation of the victims. So we need to be able to contact the potential victims, inform them of their rights, and see if they wish to exercise these rights, and then organize the legal representation, and eventually, as I was mentioning, verify if the court will be actually covering the costs of this legal representation. So that's why we have this period of time. Also, there may be additional requests by either party that judges will have to decide on. So this time is necessary for the full respect of the rights of the defense and of the victims. My personal views on that is that we need to fully respect the confidential nature of certain elements. If the judges decide that certain requests are confidential, it is in order to protect sensitive information or to protect the witnesses or to protect the identity of people that are interacting with the court, the integrity of the proceedings, and to be confident that the judges will always take their decisions only based on the applicable law and on the evidence that is submitted before them by the parties and participants. Thank you.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po, no? Klarong-klaro. Alright, so this time around, I just want to give you ang mga latest updates regarding po ang sa Supreme Court, no? Ano ba ang mga noticias sa Supreme Court? No? What is happening sa politika or other cases mayroon dyan po sa Supreme Court? Let's listen to this report coming from the Supreme Court.
Good afternoon. The Supreme Court en banc during its session on April 2, 2025, ordered Attorney Raul Lambino to show cause within a non-extendable period of 10 days from receipt of notice why he should not face administrative sanctions for spreading false information. In a Facebook Live broadcast on March 11, 2025, Attorney Lambino falsely claimed that the Supreme Court had issued a TRO against the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. This misinformation caused public confusion and misled the people about the Supreme Court's actions. During the en banc session today, April 8, 2025, the court acted on the following matters. In the petition filed by Isambayan Coalition and others, asking the Supreme Court to compel Congress to enact an anti-political dynasty law, the Supreme Court required respondents' Senate and the House of Representatives to comment on the petition within the non-extendable period of 10 days from notice. The Supreme Court consolidated the petition filed by Isambayan Coalition et al. With the earlier petitions filed by Kapatiran Party and Wilfredo Trinidad on the same matter. In another case, a complaint was filed by attorneys Alan Liberato Espino and Michelle A. Lacerna Adricula against attorney Christian G. Sia for alleged sexist remarks against single mothers. In a letter dated April 7, 2025, the Gabriela National Alliance of Filipino Women asked the Supreme Court to investigate the same incident and impose the appropriate disciplinary action on Attorney Sia. The Supreme Court ordered Attorney Sia to show cause within a non-extendable period of 10 days from receipt of notice when no disciplinary action should be taken against him. A copy of the available pleadings may be downloaded from the public pleadings section of the Supreme Court website. Thank you.
So that's the latest sa Supreme Court po, no? Sa Supreme Court, ano-ano mga latest developments nila, narinig natin po dito po sa Nick Talk, Real Talk with Nico. Before I will conclude po, mayroon mga request sa akin na the other day. Sabi niya, sir, pwede ba yan po, maski kunti-kunti na lang mga mukha ng mga kandidato, maski yun na top officials na lang po, mga kandidato dyan po sa Zamboanga. Can you share with us? Alright, I prepared something here. So, isa-isa. I think we have one, ang kandidato para sa mayor sa Zamboanga City. Tatlo yun sila, no? Tatlo yun sila, si Dalipe, Manix Dalipe, si Kemer Olaso, at saka si Pete Natividad. And then, mayroon din ako dito short footages ang kongresista para sa District 2, si incumbent mayor John Dalipe, and itong kapatid ni Kemer Olaso, si Kaiser Olaso para sa District 1. I will share with you itong kunting statement nila pa, no? So at least it will remind you ang mukha nila, ang boses nila, and anong plataforma nila. You hold on. Nandito po si Manix Dalipe.
Na gawin natin. Dialogue. Kailangan lahat mag-usap para bawat sa isa't isa magkaintindihan. Pag ang mga tao hindi nag-uusap, hindi magkakaintindihan, doon magsisimula yung problema. So importante po yung dialogue. Whether what sector we belong to, it should be open to communication lines. Kailangan maintindihan natin ang isa't isa. We should be understanding enough to understand the differences. Instead of trying to look at the differences, we look at the commonality, and with that, we'll have a more better society without those people trying to radicalize our young people. Magkaintindihan lang tayo, mas maganda ang ating mga komunidad. Thank you.
Alright, yan po si Manix Dalipe, eyeing for the post of mayor of Zamboanga City come May 12. May 12 po, midterm election. And nandito po ang congressista ng District 1 is stepping down and wants to also be a mayor of Zamboanga City come May 12 po. Nandito, let's listen to this.
Small medium enterprise SMEs who thrive in Zamboanga City. As you know, there are a lot of gigantic business men in Zamboanga City. Business sector that is coming, and kumbaga they're occupying the businesses area. We should protect the small medium enterprise by giving them 1 year free taxation from the local government. We will not collect any tax from them. We will give them chance to promote their product and to sell it in Zamboanga City. Not only that, we will give them special location where we can ask them to do good businesses. And government must not compete with small medium enterprises. Hindi pwede manegosyo al datong gobyerno kay por causa si competing kita po al datong mga negosyante. That will not happen anything to our business sector in Zamboanga City. They will run away from Zamboanga City. And the best thing there is, we will not ask any commission from any small medium enterprises. We have to take away those commissions in Zamboanga City. I would not like to ask 30, 10, 40%. I will ask to remove it, zero corruption in Zamboanga City. Thank you.
Okay, yan po, si Kemer Olaso. Kemer Olaso. And another candidate for mayor of Zamboanga City po, I will share with you itong footage po, no? Itong footage, si Pete Natividad, also from Zamboanga City. Si Pete Natividad.
Sir Pete Natividad, numero 3, Napalolos. kayo kinatende kay no pwede daw liba cheat sheet or what. I was not advised that debe kayo na presentasyon. Pero anyway, I have P-E-T-E, progreso, esperanza, trabajo, y edukasyon. Como tabla na din yung kamiseta, edukasyon el solusyon, serbisyo con todo corazon. So, inspired by this, my first platform out of 7 is human capital development. The most important capital of any organization. Without human capital, what can we do with our financial and physical, including information, resources, or capital? Number 2 is stable and sustainable safety and security, peace and order. Without following order or law enforcement, our safety, our security, and our peace will be compromised. Number 3 is health or quality health services. Starting from prevention is better than cure. So we start with health education and health care. No? Health care. That is preventive medicine. We will reserve money for curative medicine, but we will address prevention first.
All right, that's it. Pete Natividad, aspiring to be the next mayor of Zamboanga City. Tatlo yun sila po. Si Menex Dalipe, Kimer Olaso, and Pete Natividad, who is an educator. Right? Now, for Congressman, District 1 and District 2, nandito po. I will share with you itong District 2 Congressman. Ngayon, he is the mayor of Zamboanga City. And he will pave way for his brother, si Manix, to be the mayor. And siya din mag-replace sa kapatid niya dyan po sa Kongreso. And I'm referring to no other than, ito po, si John Dalipe. John Dalipe. Let's listen to him. Hold on, ha?
Mayor John Dalipe is always there to help our local farmers. So we need to push and we need to help our local farmers so that they can produce more and to be dependent on our harvest. Thank you.
Okay, yan po. Very short na, very brief lang ang ano niya. But anyway, nakita niya po ang mukha ni John Dalipe, the younger brother of Manix Dalipe. And aspiring to be a congressman po on May 12th midterm election. And for District 1 po, ang kapatid ni Olaso, Kimer Olaso, yun po ang kandidato sa District 1 to be the congressman. Let's listen to him also.
From my university, and also I am a candidate for master's degree for Juris Doctor. So anyways, I would like to present legislations that I would like to propose once elected as congressman for the 1st District of Zamboanga in Congress. One of the legislations I would like to pass is for the equitable distribution of the funding of the national coffers. Hindi mas pwede kay el sen del Gobierno Nacional Maguindanao un ente or un distrito chenitaga sila pabor-pabor. Debe el Fondo Nacional equitable. Quiere decir, si cosa necesita el un lugar, amo debe envía fondo. Ese el un ley, that's one of the laws that I would like to pass. Another one, the national government has already shown that it is capable to give medical assistance to our citizens. Kaya el national government paga mga hospital billing. No maya kunese ase pasada mga kongresista. Devolve el fondo de PhilHealth. Allá kunese pone fondo, allá hace ley si cuánto debe darle cada vivientes si necesita sila ayuda na hospital. Unulay namin kita sa pasa por kasa tamin na daton environment. we have to see what other countries are doing. Porque no donasyon, pwede sila syempre usa incinerator machines for our trash. Japan is doing that, Singapore is doing that. Por eso tal tayo, we have to check our laws to allow these modern ways of incinerating our trash. Que ben grande at el problema del Zamboanga na basura y el entero Filipinas.
Alright, yan po ang kandidato, si Kaiser Olaso sa District 1 po to be a congressman. So, wag natin kalimutan na shoutout muna tayo kay Marilo Pintojo is watching my program dito po. Today is Wednesday, April 9. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, Marilo Pintojo, for watching my program. God bless you and hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay ni Mary and of course, ang better half ko yun po. Alright, now, let's move on. Itong mga kandidato, wala na tayong time, but wag natin kalimutan din ang isang Zamboangueño na who wants to represent Zamboanga City dyan sa Kongreso po, no? But dalawa lang ang natin ng official district dyan sa Zamboanga City, kaya nga mayroon lang tayo District 1, District 2. But there is a possibility, there is a big chance we can have another or the third congressman po kung sakali. We are going to support itong party list, the first party list from Zamboanga City, and I'm referring to itong party list SSSGSIS Pensionado Party List. And sino po ang first nominees? First nominee ng SSSGSIS sa Pensionado Party List? Un Zamboangueño. Isang Zamboangueño po, nautibo from Zamboanga City, and I'm referring to Rolando Rolly Ledesma Makasait po. Kung pwede lang po, suportahan natin. Let's bring him to the Congress para at least mayroon na tayong tatlong congressmen na dyan sa after ang midterm election po. And if we have 3 congressmen, it means mas maraming pondo para sa Zamboanga. Mas maraming pondo para sa Zamboanga. It means more developments for Zamboanga City. And in terms of capabilities, caliber, ni Rolly, I know him that well. He's my classmate, he's my relative, no? Pero hindi naman kay classmate and relative, I'm supporting him. I'm supporting him because I strongly believe in terms of education, in terms of experience, in terms of public service, in terms of sincerity, love for Zamboanga City, I strongly believe na he deserve our support. He deserve our support. Let's try. Masin isang term lang. Second term, if you are not happy with him, then don't vote anymore. Let's give him a chance. Maganda itong material po para sa Zamboanga. Alright? So, siguro, hanggang dito na lang ang programa natin po. Hindi tayo nagkampanya, no? Kasi mahirap na eh. Okay, hanggang dito na lang ang programa natin. Today, I did my program a little bit late kasi busy din tayo dito sa Kuala Lumpur. And of course, as what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to monitor the activities bukas po dyan sa Maynila, dyan sa Senado, regarding ang hearing ni to be chaired by Senator Jaime Marcos po, regarding ang the manner former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was arrested surrendered to the ICC po, no? And extending or assistance was extended by the Marcos administration. Mayroon ba yung mga violation o wala? And let's see po, kasi medyo confirmed na po, there will be some cabinet members who will be attending as a resource person attending the hearing tomorrow po. So keep tuned na kayo dito po sa Nick Talk, the Real Talk with Nico. In the meantime, once again, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Gracias, Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines. God bless us all and see you tomorrow. Bye.